It looked like the fans spoke. It looks like the fans said, hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go.
A surprising moment involving Indiana Fever fans is getting a lot of attention across the basketball world. Videos and social media posts have sparked debate after claims that some fans walked out during the game while chanting, "We want Caitlin." Now back to the video.
Like that, Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA, the team owners, the Players Association, in the split of an instance, all of it can change. In a split instance, all of it can change. If this injury does anything, it should be a wake-up call to the WNBA, the Players Association, the team owners, that just like that, all this fanfare, all this interest, all this newfound attention on the league can disappear overnight.
The WNBA seemed convinced they could keep playing Caitlin Clark with nonstop physicality, while fans would continue cheering as if nothing had changed. Then everything flipped after Clark absorbed another hard collision that looked more like Game 7 of a hockey championship than a basketball matchup. Fans didn't just voice their frustration. They started calling for boycotts. The league embraced a tougher style of play, but now it's facing a full-court backlash. Who would have guessed that targeting the player driving your biggest ticket sales would create such a massive controversy? Now, buckle up as we jump straight into this story.
Just announced that Caitlin Clark will be out a minimum of 2 weeks with a quad injury. Could this injury have been prevented? Can the Indiana Fever win without her? And what does this mean for the WNBA?
The WNBA probably expected this season to be smooth and free of major headlines. That idea didn't last long. Just as television ratings were climbing, jerseys were selling everywhere, and every Indiana Fever game felt like a sold-out superstar event. Everything suddenly changed. Caitlin Clark's team was hit with unexpected trouble, and now she's on the bench. Fans are reacting as if the entire basketball world has been turned upside down, while the league is trying to stay calm behind the scenes and act like nothing is wrong. The reality tells a very different story.
Get in the back. We know Caitlin Clark was lost yesterday to an injury for at least 2 weeks. Now, the thing about it is they're going to reevaluate in 2 weeks. And of course, man, these teams, I told you earlier, these WNBA franchises that moved games like the Chicago Sky to the, United Arena, you're screwed. You're done. You're cooked. Nobody is going to show up to this thing. Chicago Sky can't sell out their own 9,000-something seat arena like it is. They couldn't when they were kind of decent.
2 weeks. That's the expected time Caitlin Clark will spend on the sidelines with strained quadriceps. It's not a torn muscle or a serious fracture, but it's enough to completely change the league storyline. You could say her leg decided it needed a short vacation. Now, the Indiana Fever's biggest star is watching from the bench while the WNBA works overtime to keep the spotlight alive. And the fan reaction, let's just say it hasn't been quiet. Calling it a small response would be an understatement. It's been a full-scale public meltdown.
Oh my God, guys, breaking news. Caitlin Clark is hurt. I didn't believe it when I saw it myself. She's injured. She has a quad injury, a left quad injury. It's a quadriceps strain, and the team announced today, about 2 hours ago, she's going to be out 2 weeks at the minimum. 2 weeks. Without Caitlin Clark, this team is finished.
Clark supporters, the passionate fans filling social media and wearing her jerseys everywhere, have wasted no time making their feelings known. What began as a relatively minor injury has turned into a massive online movement. Posts saying, "I'm not watching until Clark comes back," and "the league isn't the same without her," are spreading everywhere. Some are even calling for a WNBA boycott, reacting as though the league personally wronged them. Meanwhile, other players are trying to remind everyone they're still competing, but much of the online conversation keeps replying, "Not right now."
It's the latter. It could mean that Caitlin Clark could potentially miss the rest of the season. This 2-week timetable that people are running with, that's just when Caitlin Clark is going to be reevaluated. As of now, she will be reevaluated on June 9th. That does not mean, and it's highly unlikely, that June 9th or shortly thereafter is when Caitlin Clark is cleared to return.
And as for Indiana, they're getting a first-hand look at what life is like without their biggest star. The Caitlin Clark era is on pause for now, and the Fever are relying on everyone else to keep things together. Kelsey Mitchell is playing with nonstop energy, while Aaliyah Boston is battling for every rebound like every possession matters. Head coach Stephanie White is adjusting strategies almost every game to keep the team competitive. Even so, Indiana still has a chance to stay on track because their upcoming opponents haven't looked especially dominant lately. No disrespect to the Las Vegas Aces. Well, maybe just a little.
No way. Every team's going to come at them and try to take them out, especially without Caitlin. They're going to lose some games here, and that's going to set them back. It's really hard to believe this, but yeah, she's out. There's no other details. When did this happen? Could have happened in this game. We're not sure. Most likely at a practice yesterday. She's out for 2 weeks, man.
Let's be honest. Lately, the biggest drama in the WNBA hasn't just been the final scores, the highlight plays, or even the games themselves. It's been watching the league adjust after Caitlin Clark was forced to the bench. Before the injury, Clark wasn't simply part of the MVP race. She was at the center of it. Some people try to downplay her impact, saying she was only impressive for a young player, but that argument never carried much weight. She wasn't just filling up the stat sheet. She was helping transform an entire franchise. Television ratings climbed, arenas sold out, celebrities praised her, and fans packed the stands wearing homemade jerseys and cheering every possession. Clark didn't just generate excitement. She became a major driving force behind the league's growing popularity. Viewership reached new heights, arenas were packed again, and merchandise disappeared from stores almost as quickly as it arrived. Now she's temporarily sidelined, and suddenly everyone is acting as if the MVP race has completely changed overnight.
WNBA news. Caitlin Clark is out for a minimum of 2 weeks with a quad strain, and our next question is, what does this mean for the Fever? So Cece is going to be missing the second Sky rematch since playing them the first weekend of the season, which is definitely a bummer, but on the bright side, this injury doesn't seem too bad. It's just some quad tightness. But fear not, Fever fans. We talked to Caitlin earlier this month, and she doesn't seem too worried about the depth of this roster.
So I think our depth is probably what I would worry about the most. You know, if somebody doesn't have it one night, you're just going to the next person on the bench and the next person, and you know, we're gonna have to be able to find a way to use that to the best of our ability.
Caitlin seems like she has faith in her team, but we will see how this squad performs on the court without their number one player.
Meanwhile, back in Indiana, the Fever are quietly finding their rhythm, and this stretch could actually make them stronger. With Caitlin Clark temporarily unavailable, the rest of the roster is being forced to take on bigger roles. When she returns fully rested, locked in, and ready to compete again, expect plenty of excitement. Picture Clark stepping back onto the court, knocking down deep three-pointers, and answering every critic who doubted her after a short recovery from her quad injury. That wouldn't just be a return. It would feel like a statement. More importantly, if Indiana can stay competitive and collect a few key wins during this stretch, they'll become an even more dangerous team. With Clark healthy, Aaliyah Boston playing with confidence, and Kelsey Mitchell keeping the offense rolling, the Fever could emerge as a serious playoff threat with tremendous momentum that yes, Caitlin Clark is sidelined for now, but the WNBA season keeps moving forward. If anything, the storylines have become even bigger, with the MVP race, emerging stars, passionate fan debates, and anticipation for Clark's eventual return all capturing attention.
Just as I started talking about Caitlin Clark being in the MVP race, it is announced that she suffered a left quad injury and she is going to miss at least 2 weeks. And this is such a bummer because the Fever were off to a great start this season. Caitlin Clark was playing out of her mind. She had already broken some records in the first 3 games, and now she's going to be sidelined for 2 weeks. We'll see how the team will hold up without her. Obviously, she's the primary ball handler, playmaker, and shot maker. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can sustain and just hold even at 500 or better, and she can get back and keep them in playoff contention.
For the fans saying they'll avoid the league until Caitlin Clark returns, here's another way to look at it. Without Clark on the floor, many viewers feel like they're watching after the headline performer has already left the stage. The WNBA still features plenty of talented players, but some believe her absence has reduced the excitement, lowered the energy, and quieted many of the biggest conversations around the league. Fans continue sharing passionate posts across social media, insisting they'll tune back in once she's healthy. Meanwhile, the league isn't just trying to grow, It's working to keep the momentum going. And when Clark finally returns, many expect it to feel like one of the season's biggest events. Right now, the games may be calmer, but the online buzz isn't quite the same. The constant debates over hard fouls, physical play, and controversial moments have slowed down. Like it or not, those heated discussions kept people talking, and attention has always been valuable. As much as the WNBA wants the spotlight to stay on great basketball, major storylines often bring the biggest audience. Let's face it, the biggest spikes in attention often came from dramatic moments, not just the basketball itself. Conversations spread faster after a hard foul involving Caitlin Clark than after a perfectly executed play or a high-score performance from another star. Social media lit up whenever a physical play involving Clark went viral, and those moments generated enormous discussion across the sports world. In many ways, the league benefited from all that extra attention. Now that Clark is temporarily sidelined, many people are wondering whether the same level of excitement can continue. Even merchandise sales have reportedly lost some momentum, with Clark's jerseys no longer disappearing from shelves at the same pace. For the business side of the league, even a relatively short absence from one of its biggest stars can feel like a significant challenge, especially when it comes to maintaining fan interest and ticket demand.
She's human after all, Dan. She's going to be out for at least a couple of weeks, it appears.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about Caitlin Clark? Remember last year, she played in the Final Four. Right after that, she went immediately to the WNBA. Draft came, season started, and, didn't miss a beat. And all of a sudden, she got a little rest and comes back, gets a little banged up.
Now fans are doing what passionate fan bases usually do, filling social media with emotional reactions and nonstop debates. Comment sections are overflowing with people saying, she should have gone to Europe, as if moving overseas would somehow erase the risk of getting injured. According to that logic, all she had to do was pack her bags, switch continents, and everything would magically be fine. Sure, many European leagues can offer higher salaries, and basketball stars are often treated like royalty by their fans. Those points are fair, but Caitlin Clark didn't join the WNBA because it was the easiest or most comfortable option. She came to compete on the biggest stage, make an impact, and help change the league. Building a legacy is never easy, especially when it feels like half the league is determined to stop you, while the other half can't seem to take their eyes off everything you do. And speaking of that attention, even Clark's biggest critics suddenly have a lot less to talk about. They had their tweets ready, fresh memes waiting, and endless "she's overrated" opinions prepared for every game. But now that she's temporarily off the court, everything has gone unusually quiet. It's difficult to constantly criticize a player who isn't even playing. For the moment, many of her loudest critics seem to be searching for their next conversation.
Big news just released by the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark has suffered a quad injury, and she is going to be out for a minimum of 2 weeks. Really bad news for people going to games at home hoping to see Caitlin.
Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.